To most Africans, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was a great leader. You can watch this video and analyze whether Gaddafi was a great African leader, as we will look into his life briefly. Maybe he was more subtle and very, very smart about his political agenda. The main goal of this presentation, titled "To Most Africans, Gaddafi was a Great Leader," although short, is to help us understand basic political deception. Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was committed to Arab nationalism, although in later years he modified it under his own brand of Third International Theory. Arab nationalism is a nationalist ideology celebrating the glories of Arab civilization, the language and the literature of the Arabs and achievements of the Arabs, and a calling for the rejuvenation and political union of the whole Arab world internationally. You can read more about this from this website, Quran, shown here. But in all this that he said, he never at one time denigrated the Middle East, which does not exist. There was no Middle East. All was part of Africa. Here is what he did for Libya. Look at what happened after he was assassinated. This is really a travesty of justice and fairness. But in Libya, a home was considered a natural human right. Education and healthcare were all offered free. If you wanted to start a farming business, it was very simple and straightforward. The state provided financial aid to mothers after childbirth. Electricity was free. The country did have, amongst everything else, the highest social indicators in Africa. So that we have to give credit to him. And also this man-made project whereby he was able to drill water in the Sahara to provide pristine and abundant food to Libya. The 40-year achievement was destroyed by the United States and the NATO when they used depleted uranium bombs and poisoned the water. And this is one of the most inhuman crimes ever committed on a sovereign state and continent. But the question is, all African leaders kept quiet, mumbled a little bit here and there. We want to know why. And we want to investigate whether Gaddafi was a good and excellent leader for Africa. Now, why did Libyans kill their own leader? Why did they chase him like a dog and killed him in a way that is so inhuman? Why were they angry at him despite all the excellent achievements that he did to them and for them? We are not here to bash him too. We are here in this presentation to look at his basic political posturing, and we are going to ignore a lot of geopolitical trickeries. And there are a lot of signs that Gaddafi only used Pan-Africanism to mask his pale supremacist aspirations for Africa. Here is what he said: "I am an international leader, the dean of the Arab rulers, the king of kings of Africa, and the imam of Muslims. And my international status does not allow me to descend to a lower level." So he considered himself as the king of kings of Africa, based on his pale Arab ideology. A picture is worth 1,000 words. This is a photo where you can see Muammar Gaddafi's ambition very, very clearly. He shows a map of Africa here and the Arab world, which is correct, which is the map we should always use. Yet, only Libya is highlighted and singled out on the map. Gaddafi is the only one seated, and all the chiefs that were invited to crown him king of kings of Africa are standing in respect of him. Our chiefs from all over Africa attended to coronate him as King of Kings of Africa. They are standing and not sitting because they are not his equal. He is the only one seated, for he is the King of Kings. This demonstrates that he did not want to unite Africa into a nation of equals, which would have been demonstrated if he had allowed other kings to sit next to him like in a council. But he wanted to unite Africa in order for him or for someone else of his race to rule and govern and own Africa. Think about this and consider this very, very, very seriously. Was he a great leader? To a certain point, yes. But he wanted to dominate. That is why he turned away from the Arab League and Arab nationalism and looked into Africa for the fulfillment of his ambitions. What did he do for Africa? Let's look at that. Over 95% of his project and aid and support was largely to build mosques in sub-Saharan Africa. This is one of the largest mosques in the world. The Ugandan Mosque, formerly known as the Gaddafi National Mosque, in the old Kampala area of the Ugandan capital city. It is the largest in East Africa and also amongst the largest in the whole world. This is an African man that has been trained to calligraph the Quran, and he has done it for 4 years, and he received a lot of rewards from Gaddafi to do that. Of course, in all his projects in Africa, like when he built temples or any other projects, he would make sure that the Quran is distributed and Islam is given preference, and light and electricity would be supplied so that people could read the Quran and attend services without any disturbances. The major claim that we hear is that Libya wanted to initiate a gold currency for Africa. But you know what? Libya never had gold mines. He wanted to get the gold from Africa via the chiefs. The real Muammar Gaddafi, although he banged mercilessly on desks and tops and speeches that he was a real Pan-Africanist, was a core unrepentant Arab racist who considered Africans beneath him, as we have already demonstrated with the chiefs that attended his coronation. Here is what he said. You can go to this website and read about this. We do not know what will happen, what will be the reaction of the white and Christian Europeans faced with the influx of starving and ignorant Africans. This is what Colonel Gaddafi said in Rome when he met Berlusconi, the then Prime Minister of Italy, on August 30 in 2010. We can see that he's looking here. He visited Egypt here one time in a museum, and he could see that this was Taharaka. And Gaddafi knew that ancient Africans, ancient melanin dominant human beings, were the founders of the greatest civilization on earth, Hamid. But he did not proceed to act that way. His former chief of protocol, Nouri al-Mismari, said Gaddafi used to speak ill about every African leader and those that visited him and where he used to go, and call them slaves. You can also read a book that was written by a celebrated and renowned scientist, Amina Gurib Fakim, who was Mauritius' first president, where she said clearly that Gaddafi was not a Pan-Africanist but was an unrepentant racist who considered Africans abid or slaves. Another international individual, Jendai Fraser, born 1961, a former United States Assistant Secretary for African Affairs, said that during many of the visits that she attended with African leaders, many of them confided in her that Gaddafi tried to kill them and that Gaddafi sponsored terrorists in Africa, and maybe this is the reason why many African leaders turned a blind eye when NATO bombed and destroyed Libya, leading eventually to his assassination, which we have said was a travesty of fairness. Despite the fact that he committed a lot of genocide against the indigenous Taubo people that own Libya. These are the people that own Libya. And they live in very inhospitable areas crisscrossed by the borders of Libya, Chad, Niger, and Sudan, the table, are a non-Arab indigenous people that own the whole of this area that we are discussing today. And Gaddafi went ahead and destroyed them, dehumanized them, and committed a lot of genocide. These are the desert Bantus. A table man, it looks like any Bantu. It's an ancient picture of tables, the real ancient owners of Libya. They are Bantus. A table camel rider. Gaddafi wanted to wipe all of these people off the planet Earth, at the same time promoting and pretending to be a pan-Africanist. In December 2007, Gaddafi's government stripped these people of their citizenship in Libya, claiming that they were not Libyans, but Chadians. In addition, local authorities denied the Tobo people access to education, healthcare, water, and any other resources. But this is the area they should have lived. Of course, we blame the borders for that. Then they formed a resistance and uprising which was crushed because Libya was well funded and is using African oil and was using African oil. And these are our people, the Tobo, that have been massacred and destroyed by Muammar Gaddafi, whom you think is a hero. And again, this is a popular Tobo leader of former leader of Chad, Hassan Habre, and this is a Tobo woman found in Libya. So Libya is not a pale Arab country. Even today, there are these people that have been massacred and destroyed and killed and attacked and abused and faced destruction from the pale Arabs. Of course, there is a lot of politics going all over the show. They come from various places. How is it possible then that to most Africans, Gaddafi was a great leader? This fact that so many melanin dominant human beings can weigh fundamentally Islamic and pan-historical realities and then think that Gaddafi is still a hero is fairly a huge problem. I too applauded his stance when he asked for forgiveness for Arabic slave trade. What is so obvious is that when facts emerge, like that he committed genocide on indigenous people at the table, and that he never condemned the creation of the Middle East by the so-called Western or Zionist imperialist forces, and that he was proud and a racist pale Arab promoting Islam hidden under the guise of Pan-Africanism, we cannot be really ignorant about this and continue to support him and his green book. No, the man was not a hero of melanin dominant human beings. He was a leader, yes, but not a hero. In conclusion, Arab philosophers carefully filled the ground in order to make racism towards Africans and all black people by their kin a proud cultural heritage. Ibn Sina or Avicenna, this author, Arab's most famous and influential philosopher and scientist in Islam, described black people as people who are by their very nature slaves, abid. He wrote, all African women are prostitutes and the whole rest of African men is abid, slaves, stock. He finally equates black people with rats plaguing the earth. We never heard your hero condemning such attitudes, only a little bit of slavery, which can be political rhetoric. These are Gaddafi's heroes who gave him the ideas to write the Green Book and implement his subtle program of dominating of Africa. This is the conclusion, really. Colonel Gaddafi was cunningly advancing an agenda to Arabize and Islamize Africa and to prepare it for a day when a pale Arab or pale Arabs would rule the whole of Africa. This is what we need to learn and know in terms of politics. There is no politician, even of our own melanin dominant human beings, who could really go a step further for us to liberate us. To learn more about your melanin dominant spirituality, which is the key If anyone is promoting African spirituality and is a politician, is a banker, is an industrialist, is an entrepreneur, and is promoting African spirituality, we can say that man is our hero. He is there to give us real emancipation. To learn more and to share, send us an email on join@marifado.com. This picture by LM to Miss Galu. Kunikenim Jakajam Skan saying subscribe to our channel. Till we meet again. Remember, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi was not our hero, but was a leader in Africa. Till we meet again, Edupe, Siabonga, Tatenda, thank you, Enkos.